You know, if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf, Montreal Canadian, or New York Ranger fan of the 1970s, you can pretty well say this guy never got a full shot at a big NHL career because he was always second fiddle to something, and he was not played for a full year by the Montreal Canadiens for some reason. Instead of letting him play in the minors and to keep in shape, the whole year he didn't hit the ice. But his great work he did off the ice, especially with the San Jose Shark organization, deserves our dynamite respect. So bad news on the doorstep again today. The great Wayne Thomas, a goalie for the Canadiens, Leafs, and Rangers, who played 8 campaigns in the show and later served an executive with San Jose Sharks, has died. The Sharks announced Wednesday that a 72-year-old who had suffered from cancer for a while died peacefully at home surrounded by his family. Born in Ottawa on October 9, 1947, setting off into his hockey career with the Ottawa Capitals of the Central Canada Hockey League between 63 and 67, and being named the CCHL's top goalie in 66. He went on to play 3 years of varsity hockey at the University of Wisconsin under coach Bob Johnson, and had a shutout in his first game in 68, and then an 11-0 blank of Pennsylvania. In 70, Wisconsin's first season in the WCHA, he helped to lead the team to the Frozen Four tournament. A stand-up goalie with a little bit of butterfly, sort of like Brian Hayward, very, very big respect. Thomas's NHL rights were originally held by the Leafs. He was then traded to the Kings in 68 with forwards Gary Croteau and Brian Murphy for forward Grant Moore and defenseman Lou Deveau. He would be part of a 6-player trade between the Kings and Canadiens on March 20, 1970, going to Montreal with defenseman Greg Boddy and forward Leon Rochefort in exchange for forwards Lucien Grenier and Larry Mickey and goalie Jack Norris. Thomas spent his 72 to 72 seasons AHL with Montreal and Nova Scotia, winning the Calder Cup with the Voyageurs. He made his NHL debut in 72 with the Canadiens, becoming the 10th goalie in NHL history to have a shutout in his first game, a 3-0 blank against the Canucks. Thomas won his first 7 home starts, going 8-1-2, 1-0 overall, with a .237 goals against average and a .911 save percentage of 73, and was a member of the Habs Stanley Cup winning squad that season. So Michel Place and Wayne Thomas were the backups of Dryden that year. But when Dryden took a year off, 74 was his breakout year. His .277 goal against average was the 4th best in the NHL in 74. And March 10th, 74, he set a Canadiens record with 53 saves and a 5-4 victory against the Penguins since tied Carey Price on November 14, 2009. Now he sat out the whole 75 season and eventually traded to the Leafs for a first-round pick in 76, who ended up being Peter Lee. During the 76 campaign, around the Palmetier era, he played in career-high 64 contests, had 28 wins, and played in the NHL All-Star Game. The Rangers then claimed Thomas on October 10th, 77, in the league's waiver draft, which was a big gain for the blue and white, and would spend the next 4 campaigns with him and John Davidson, of course. He ended his NHL playing career in 81, finishing with a respectable 103, 93, 0 with a record with 34 ties, a 334 goals against average, 8.9 save percentage, and 10 shutouts in 243 contests, which were 227 starts. He also appeared in 15 Stanley Cup playoff contests. After retiring, he was hired by the Rangers as a goalie coach and remained there until the 85 campaign. He was eventually named coach of the Salt Lake Golden Eagles of the IHL in 85. In his second year there, the team won the league championship, and Thomas was awarded the Commissioner's Trophy as the I's Coach of the Year. He also would serve as an AC with the Blackhawks and Blues in 86 and 93, joining the Sharks in 93 as an assistant to the GM and as an assistant coach. For the next 21 years, he would take on a more advanced role in working with Sharks goaltenders and became the team's assistant general manager. When he retired from the Sharks in 2015, it was almost after 50 years consecutive in minor and pro hockey. Just in that break in the 74-75 season, I did a previous podcast on that. Now, considered, again, part of that lost goalie tandem of that 73-74 season, very handsome guy. He died, of course, in Falmouth, Massachusetts. He's a home region. The native Ottawa, 61205. Again, at the time of his passing, he ranked in the top 10 all time for Wisconsin goalers in save percentage, 9th, and goals against average 10th as of last year. Now, again, when he was at Habs, it's very interesting how this works out. Thomas was unofficially the number 3 goalie behind Ken Dryden and Michel Place, but we all know Steve was the better player. Now, in 74, Dryden sitting out the season to complete his bar exam and disgruntled as he's offered contract, he shared duties with Michel and Michel Larocque, playing 42 contests with a .276 average. But again, was not used in the playoffs as he went with Larocque. Now, he spent the entire 74 season as Montreal's number 3, but did not see any action in a single game, as Dryden returned with Larocque as a backup and Thomas as the backup goalie. So I think they basically were just frigging around and keeping him healthy. Thomas was frustrated but appeased when Montreal GM Sam Pollock advised him that the team intended to not utilize him, but would trade him to a good situation in the offseason. Now, again, his years in management were very strong. Well known for his good work with goalies such as Mike Vernon with the Golden Eagles, of course, Salt Lake. Eventually, they were originally a Moncton Golden Eagles, and Glenn Hanlon and John Van Beesbrook with the Rangers. Under head coach Bob Murdoch, he focused on Chicago's goalies and helped the development of Jimmy Waite and El Belfour. Now, again, a goalie's goalie, the best way you can describe Wayne Thomas, he made the save. Not too flashy, not too exciting, but got the job done. He also had a bachelor's degree in physical education from University of Wisconsin, and he and his beautiful wife Barb had 2 daughters, and our condolences, of course. Best season with Wisconsin, in my opinion, 14-7 in 1970. Voyageurs, 71, he won 8-17-6. 72 in Nova Scotia, 22-8-10. Did play 6 games in Nova Scotia in 73, and again, big 28 wins for the Maple Leafs in 76, and did help them get to the second round, which was a big deal. But with the Rangers redeveloping, did not play in the Stanley Cup playoffs for Rangers in 79, unfortunately. Went back to the minors in New Haven in 1980 with 5 victories, but Rangers again, 4 big campaigns. So, ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Thomas, my God, and like I said, it was so bizarre when Dryden left, might as well say in the end of 73, Michel Larocque wasn't really thought of. He said, hey, we got Wayne Thomas, he had a good start, sort of like a Tony Esposito. Some people were regretting leaving Tony Esposito go, actually, and Phil Mear and Rogie, because he never taught Dryden. He only came in 71, and by 73 he was gone. So, but Wayne Thomas, Thomas and Palmetier in New York, Davidson, and some part of the best tandems, him and Dryden in Montreal. So, an eternal goalie. I'm going to miss him because I remember getting his hockey cards back in the day. Handsome dude. All the women in my family loved him, and it was so weird that my dad was at the Legion in Jacket River, and a woman out of nowhere was watching the game, and Dryden was playing. He said, "Is that Wayne?" Dad was kind of confused because he thought he was thinking about talking about Wayne Carlton. No. He said that's Ken Dryden. Oh, and Wayne, he's a nice-looking guy, a good guy. I heard he was in college a few years ago. I don't know how the woman found out. There was a total stranger to Dad. So, all I can say is that Wayne Thomas, we're going to miss you, man. What you did for hockey is tremendous. You should be in more halls of fame than what you are. I really think you deserve, from an executive standpoint, the way you've helped goalies over the years, you deserve every recognition. Your fellow teammates as well. Yvonne Cornway called you once the steadiest goalie besides Dryden we had in that 73 campaign. And you should know, because he was one of the main reasons they got to the Stanley Cup round so strong, because he gave Dryden a rest. But Thomas on the road was strong too. He played a lot of road games. Great player. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing with our Montreal Canadiens Tribute podcast, let us know what you like, comment, subscribe, or share.